If you wanted to go and see a Japanese office from 1990, go and see a Japanese office today. It is identical. Oh, you're born into this community? Okay, wonderful. That's your community. And you've got to perform for that community. And it's insane for us to think that you can rent a boyfriend or you can rent a girlfriend. You put on your suit and you go to work.
I like the Harajuku crowd we're talking about.
Correct.
And the Hikikomori is the Japanese version of an incel, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty. It would be classed in the same bracket. Sorry, we don't serve you. And it's kind of it's kind of disarming. You kind of go, okay, sure. Like you've told me nicely that you don't serve me.
It's polite racism.
Yeah, it's polite racism. You go, okay, sure, no problem. I'm not going to argue with you.
Curiosity is the key to the imagination.
Mike Helfman Podcast, let's do this!
Dream the impossible dream. Welcome to Mike Helfman's Curiosity Podcast.
All right, George Bell, welcome to the pod.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
How are you? Professional expat.
I'm doing my best to live up to the title.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about the expat experience, basically, and how it can be like really interesting and exciting and weird experiencing aspects of different cultures that you're typically not accustomed to coming from your home country, right? The immigrant experience, the expat experience. It's always an adventure, I find, because, you're in a different land, and it's interesting. For me, it keeps me on my toes. Like, I like it because I'm constantly stimulated by learning new things. I'm just a curious person by nature, right? I see there's a lot of different kinds of expats. There's the kind that stay within their own community, there's the kind that integrate into the local community, and then there's the kind that can move in both worlds, right? And I think I kind of fall into that territory where I go into both worlds and purely out of curiosity, right? I'm a curious person by nature. I mean, you have to be curious to move halfway around the world and live in a completely different society and live there for however long. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience and coming from the UK and then to Japan and then to Malaysia. So you've lived in a number of different countries. Were there any other countries am I missing?
Yeah, so I started off in a very, very small town in the north of England, where we were taught about the world, but I mean the world ended at the you are now leaving Hayden Bridge, our little village, and I've travelled from the UK, that little town. I've been to New Zealand, I've lived there twice. I've been to Japan for a very, very long time, and I've been in Malaysia for a very long time as well. So I spent most of my time out here in Asia, and I have to fully agree that it is the excitement. It is something different and something new that you see on street corners, in restaurants. It's different food, it's different drinks, it's the people, it's the energy that you find in different places that really draws myself and expatriates around the world to new places.
Yeah, man. By the way, I love Asia. I think Asia is the future of the world. I mean, you look at the cities, you look at the infrastructure, you look at the architecture. It's new. It's not crumbling like parts of the West. It's amazing. So, you lived in Japan. I've been to Japan about 10 times, and not something everybody knows or not something everybody wants you to know is that Japan is a very old population. Like when you go there, you see the construction workers, they're all 70 years old, 65 years old, and their population is decreasing at a rate faster than most of the world. I think that by the year 2100, it's going to be decreased by like 50% or something like that. You can look at the real estate there. I mean, they're selling houses in Japan for pennies on the dollar. You can buy a house for like $5,000, $10,000, and these are decent sized houses outside of major cities. Why don't you give us a little bit of your experience?
Yeah, Japan's aging population is fascinating. It is completely fascinating because you do get these old people just working and working and working. They had their big boom in the 70s and the 80s, and the economy collapsed and stagnated. Their population is decreasing. I think their population's gone down by 10 million in the space of 20, 30 years. And it is wild to see that what would be a normal thing in other parts of the world to make economic change, to immigration change, that Japan hasn't moved in that direction. They've decided, no, we're going to stay Japanese, we're going to stay to our roots, and we're going to try and find a way out for ourselves and to do it our way, rather than looking to external sources that may also provide better examples of how to deal with this situation.
Yeah, you know, when we spoke previously, and I just mentioned earlier how Japan is actually not the future. Japan might have been the future in the 80s or the 90s, right? And something that you mentioned when we were having a conversation earlier, which I thought was really interesting, was that a lot of the tech is like from the 90s in Japan. I mean, it's in very good condition, but it's like 90s tech.
Oh yeah. So if you wanted to go and see a Japanese office from 1990, go and see a Japanese office today. It is identical. Nothing has changed. Other than the major complexes in like Tokyo or Kyoto and Osaka, they've probably updated. But as soon as you leave those big population and economic hubs, it is just the 90s. And you're still faxing. It's still paper trails. It's still meeting after meeting after meeting. That could have been maybe not even one email. It would have been a text message. So this perception that Japan is living in the future is right in a sense of population decline. But what you see online of being like, oh, they've got these robot hotels and they've got these robot waiters and all this magical stuff that they promise is they do have a robot hotel. But we also have robot hotels everywhere else in the world. It's called a booking system. Like robot waiters, why? We don't need robot waiters. You're just bringing food. The great thing is the robot waiter brings you your food, and then an actual waitress comes over and then takes the food off the robot waiter, and which completely defeats the point of the robot waiter, which makes it just this bizarre mix of we want the future, but we don't want to let go of the past, and we want to still be the country that's perceived as this futuristic world, but everybody's got to keep up.
Well, that's interesting. You know, you bring up the robots. Maybe that is, you know, a reflection of the human race in the future, because robots are going to actually be doing a lot of tasks that people don't want to do once robots get scaled up. And look, I don't want to sit here and bash Japan. Obviously, we're going to talk about a lot of differences and stuff, but let's get on the table. Japan is an incredibly amazing place. It's super clean. I mean, you go to Japan and look at the gutter next to the sidewalk where the sewer is, and it's crystal clear water, and there's koi fish swimming in it. It looks like a goddamn aquarium. I freaking love Japan for that. But I've been to Japan 10 times, and going as a tourist is apparently a very different experience than somebody who actually lives there. So, like, what kind of stuff do you deal with on a day-to-day that's extremely different than the tourist experience?
The biggest difference from the tourist experience to the working experience is that you must assimilate as best you can into being Japanese, and how you follow the rules and how you work and operate within your company should conform to their rules as best that you can.
Okay, so what are the biggest differences in culture between British culture and Japanese culture?
So, biggest differences is openness to having your own ideas and having a bit of flair. Like, oh, you want to have pink hair? Great, fantastic, have pink hair. Nobody cares. You want to have a car that makes a lot of noise. Not a problem. People just, okay, that's what you do? Great, like you go and do that. Japan, if these people are seen as outliers, they have their own little subcultures of cars and motorbikes, hairstyles, fashion. but it's all these very, very niche little groups. Everybody else is very much, you put on your suits and you go to work.
Or like the Harajuku crowd we're talking about.
Correct.
And the cosplayers and all that.
Correct. And the one thing that I wish that would be taken in the West and certainly in the UK is that everybody puts a suit on to go to work. And I love that. I absolutely love that you get on a train, it's immaculately clean. The conductor's wearing a very, very nice suit. Everything's, all their little badges are polished. Everyone's polite and everyone looks like they're going to work. Everyone looks like they're doing something properly. And it's that sense of having pride in what you do is a big thing that in some good ways that we don't have in the West, but also in some bad ways that we don't care so much. But there must be this mixing of wanting to do things properly, like put on your suit and go to work. Like do it right and look good for your work and for your operator, but also have that creative flair to be an individual.
And these are I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's interesting because those guys who wear the suit and they go to work and they work like a dog, right? 60, 70 hours a week, and then they, after work, go out to Shinjuku or wherever and get super drunk. The salary man, right? Pass out on the street. I mean, that's another one of the amazing things in Japan. It's so safe that you could pass out on the street with your wallet in your lap and you can wake up and it'll still be there in the morning.
Yeah, and people will have placed water bottles around you in a nice circle.
Right, to help you up when you get out. That's amazing, right? So, but I get what you're saying in terms of like conformity. A lot of these people may not want to be there, but they still dress in the suit and they go to these jobs and they do it. And that's why they're probably blowing off so much steam at the end of the day, because they don't really want to be in these jobs. But then on the other hand, you have this amazing artisanal, craftsmen out of Japan. And that's why I think the food is probably the best in the world, right? Because you go there and it is a thriving hub of small business. That's what I love about Japan, right? You go to America, I mean, it's big box store after big box store. You know when you're going from one town to the next by seeing the next McDonald's when you're in middle America, right? In Japan, it's all about small niche business. I think that's incredible. So I see what you're saying, like the dichotomy of it, how you've got these conforming salarymen, but then on the other hand, you have these super creative craftsmen and skilled workers. So it's an interesting blend. So speaking about conforming, right? I know not a lot of people want you to know this, but nobody wants you to know this in Japan, but people, where am I going with this? Okay, so not something a lot of people know about Japan is that people marry simply to conform. And that ultimately results in people cheating and having open relationships, and that's quite commonplace.
Yeah, that is seen as perfectly normal in Japan, which is something that me, when I first got there, I was like, what is this? This idea of a relationship that I have from where I come from is the same but very, very different. Where in Japan it's more of a business relationship than it is anything else. So it's more prevalent on the female side. So when you get to 25, a lot of women start to get a little bit itchy, mostly because it's the pressure of society and their local community, and people being like, oh, she's 25, she's not married yet. And then you get towards 30 and people just they go, oh, I found a man, he's financially stable, it's acceptable, we get on. Okay, wonderful, there we are, we're going to get married. And it's that pressure, that social pressure that pushes people into these relationships. But it also means that there's got to be an outlet for this pressure and for something that these men and women actually want and who they actually want to be with. And that comes out in this culture of, he can go and meet other people, he can have other relationships, she can go and rent boyfriends and do all these things. So there's all this built up energy within these relationships to be free of them, but you can't set yourself free. because society won't let you.
Oh man, that's interesting. And apparently you're saying that you were telling me that you can rent anything in Japan. You can rent a boyfriend, you can rent a girlfriend, you can rent a dad, you can rent somebody to cuddle with. That's wild, man.
It's insane for us to think that you can rent a boyfriend or you can rent a girlfriend, because the idea of a boyfriend girlfriend is it's connection. It's intrinsic connection that you have with your partner. It's the good times you have. It's the bad times. It's the emotions that flow through this organism essentially that is the partner connection. But as soon as you rent it, it's like renting a car. It's not your car. It's somebody else's car. You may like the car that you're in, but it's not yours. It's this sort of middle ground of, oh, I'm experiencing this. Like, we could go out and we could rent a Ferrari. I'd be like, oh, I've been in a Ferrari. That's amazing. But we've got to give it back. And it's not going, oh, I owned a Ferrari. It's like, no. We drove it for a little bit. And it's the same with these boyfriend and girlfriend experiences that I find quite puzzling, is that what makes relationships very, very human has been removed completely, and is just, it's the experience package. It's like going to Disneyland and going on a roller coaster. You're going to do it for the experience of what it offers. Then with the rent a dad one, I find very, very sad. Personally, I find it quite sad, because you look at people and go, oh, I want to rent a father, because in a lot of Japanese relationships, the father can be quite absent, and that comes from what we were speaking previously about people going off and doing different things. When you have children, the mother basically takes the kids and raises them, and the dad is just there to pump money in. So if you don't have that father figure and then you rent one, you've already got a father. You can speak to that man. Hopefully they can speak to that man. But if you rent a father, then where does that personal connection come from with that person that deeply cares?
Yeah, I mean, renting a father sounds strange. I mean, I can understand wanting to rent, or for that matter, hire somebody as like a mentor or a coach or something like that. Maybe that's a different way to look at it, because, you know, you do need, I think it's important to have people that are older than you with more experience that can pass down that knowledge. And if you don't have a father, you do have to find it in other places, right? I mean, mentors are so key to have along the line. And going back to like the cuddle renting, right? Like, I know it sounds pathetic, but humans need human to human connection, right? And in this constantly divided world, and this world that the internet and social media is kind of facilitating and separating people from each other, I mean, people are getting more and more lonely. And human connection is needed so much so, especially when somebody is down, right? I mean, hell, if I'm sad or if I'm down, of course I want to, make a connection with my wife. I mean, that's part of the human experience, right? And if you don't have anybody, and a lot of these people don't, especially in Japan, you hear about these stories of, guys, having relationships with their pillows and robots. And I guess it's called incel community, right? Which is kind of, I mean, that's what we call it in the West. I think they have a name for it in Japan, right?
Yeah, in Japan, they're so insular that nothing appears. They come out very, very rarely. They order food to their rooms. They order all their groceries to their rooms. They work from their room, and they don't mingle with society.
Yeah, you literally don't have to leave. What's it called?
Hikikomori.
Hikikomori, yes, that's it.
Hikikomori is the Japanese version of an incel, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty. It would be classed in the same bracket as the incel community, but they are not aggressive at all, because they don't leave. They don't leave.
Right.
They don't do
So
anything.
Hikikomori is essentially a world in Japan created by the internet, I think, because this class of human being didn't exist 30 years ago, 40 years ago. But internet addiction, porn addiction, just polarization, loneliness, these are all major contributing factors to this hikikomori
Yes.
phenomenon.
Yes.
And we're seeing it in the West as well with incels, but in the West, these incels are more angry. And that's probably because of the cultural difference between the Japanese and the Western society. Western society is typically way more emotional than Asian society,
Yes.
right? So they use anger as an outlet for this frustration that they have and this loneliness that they have. So yeah, we need a solution for this, because this is detrimental to the world and the world population. This is not healthy.
Yes, and with the Hikikomori, they have all the problems of like the internet and work and all those things. It's a massive social pressure that we don't understand, and we never will understand these social pressures that they have, that essentially crushes these people indoors. It is very, very sad. They just get backed and backed into corners, but it's an internal thing.
Where does the pressure come from?
The pressure comes from the society as a whole. That's your first tier. It's then your local community. It's then your family, and then it's like inter-sibling rivalry.
So it's pressure to conform. Is that the kind of pressure that they're feeling?
It's pressure to conform. It's pressure to perform, and it is pressure to be part of whatever you've been born into. But that is also the case with, if you look at royal families, like you're in the royal family, that is its own pressure. These people, Japan is very much seen as, oh, you're born into this community? Okay, wonderful, that's your community. And you've got to perform for that community, and that community will make sure that you perform as best you can.
So is it something in a sense like, let's say, your father was a chef, your grandfather was a chef, you're expected to be a chef?
It very much can be like that.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's funny, because here in Malaysia, you're seeing the exact opposite of that, right? Like, it's like the grandfather was a chef, father's a chef, but now they make the money to send their children to foreign schools, to universities, so that they can be something bigger or better than a chef, like an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor. And we're actually starting to lose some of that culture here with like the hawker stalls and stuff like that. But I don't want to diverge too much. I want to stay in Japan.
Yeah.
And
I think going from that, with Japan, there is the big draw of Tokyo and the office jobs and the corporate lifestyle, which just draws all the brains down to Tokyo. It happens in the UK with London. It'll happen in Malaysia with Kuala Lumpur, where everybody pours into this big centre. And what it does draw away from at times is the little niche industries. So the people that have their little workshop and they will make mechanical parts. They may only make one thing, but they will make it perfectly.
Yeah.
There was a television show in the UK that followed a man that built basically just metal cylinders, and he was making them for a nuclear reactor, and that's sit in, and then the nuclear material sits in the middle of it, and it had to be within like a tenth of a millimeter or something, but perfectly spherical. And this man was the only man who could do it, and he was in his 80s. And these little cottage industries are dying because people are going to Tokyo. But if your father did that, and you go, oh, that job's a bit too dangerous for me, I'm just going to go and conform. So there's some people that follow, but other people they just want the easy life. They just want to. I'm just going to put my suit on. I'm just going to go and do this. Like, okay.
yeah, I mean, from the Japanese guys that I've met here in KL and even in the US, those seem to be the outliers. Like, they're the rebels, kind of. The ones that got out and wanted to see the world and go and live and do something somewhere else, right? And they're kind of looked at strangely back in Japan, right? I mean, but to be fair, so am I. I'm looked at strangely. If I go home to the United States and they say I'm living in Malaysia, I'm living in Asia, people are like, why? They don't understand, that there's a whole world out there and there's so much to see and so much to do, and they fall into their own boxes in a way, I think.
Yes, and the idea with the Japanese people that don't conform and the ones that expatriate themselves around the world, they are the outliers because they've not conformed to Japan as a whole. And it's the same with expats from all over the world. We've seen something else that we perceive ourselves as better, and better for us, better for our families, for our future, and that's why we've moved. But that doesn't mean that what we've moved from is essentially bad or a poor situation. It's for some people, but we are the outliers. We are the ones that have gone, you know what, I don't want to live in this tiny little town in the UK that has a population of 4,000 people maybe at max. I've gone, no, I want to look further than this. It doesn't mean I don't love it. I love where I come from. I'm the biggest advocate for where it is. But my life's not there. My life is elsewhere. It's out here in Asia.
But do you find when you go back that a lot of the people that you grew up with kind of remain stagnant or stay the same, doing the same kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or and there becomes a bit more of a disconnect the longer you've been away?
Yeah, there's certainly a disconnect. And I look at it in two ways. So the first way I look at some people who've got no drive, and as somebody who's pushed himself into these areas of the world and into working situations, that I am nowhere near qualified on a language level, or in my sort of personal feelings, I'm not qualified, but I am qualified. There is a sense that you've got to push yourself. You've got to do something. There's more. Like come on, let's get things rolling. And there's one group when I go back, and they've just gone, yeah, okay. Like I'll just do whatever. I don't have the drive to go somewhere else. Then I flip it, and I'm from a very farming orientated community, and there was a gentleman I went to school with, and all he wanted to do was be a farmer. That is all he wanted to do. From the moment I met him when I was 4 years old to now when he's 29 years of age, all he's wanted to do is farm, and that's all he does. He wanted to work on take over his family's farm and develop it, and then give it to his kids, and that's the journey that he's on. And I look at him with a kind of envy, where he's gone, no, this is what I want, this is what I love, and I will love it forever. And there's part of me that goes, I wish I had that for something. I know that outside of a relationship, I probably won't. But that doesn't mean that I don't have passion for so many things. Like, we have passion for different countries, for different foods. But you've got to allow yourself to have these passions and have a goal to drive for, which so many people lack.
Yeah. Indeed. And so these Japanese guys who go out, they're the outliers. And then you have the isolated young male populace of Japan, right? It's primarily male, right? That are the ones that are the Hikikomori.
Hikikomori is predominantly male.
So then where do the females fall into it? The females are the ones that end up just getting married and conforming, and they're not really becoming isolated as much?
They're more outgoing in the perception of they have to get out, because it is very much seen on the female side that you've got to get married, whereas that's not the same pressure on the men. The men have the men have the pressure to conform and perform at work. That is their pressure. The female pressure is to go towards marriage and family and the home. But with that historically being the case, women are now seeing and saying to themselves, no, I want to have a job, I want to have my own career. And a lot of them are staying away from the family thing. And then they get to 25 and 30, and then the social pressures catch them again. And then they go, oh, I've got to pick one of these paths, and a lot of them will just marry just to, right, we've done it.
Right.
Okay, now back to the career.
So that must be the reason why there's a shortage for male prostitutes in Japan, because women are marrying to conform and they're not marrying for love.
Yeah.
And they end up making these, deals with their husbands where, sure, we'll agree to be married, but we can go off and do our own kind of things.
Yeah, it's a full business relationship. Like husband, you bring in some money, you give me some children, and then we'll do our own things. We'll have completely separate bank accounts. A lot of the time, the husband will give all of his salary to the wife,
Right.
and then the wife will then give him an allowance to then live off, which for me is a bit,
Yeah, that's wild.
okay, that's that's interesting. I mean, sure, like if that's what you want to do, but there's this thing where just marry for love. Like, come on, let's work it out. And they always want to. They very much want the answer, which is, what is love? And it's not really something that's like tangible. We can't really write down a definition that describes what it is. It's a feeling, it's an emotion. And that is something that lacks in Japan, is the emotional connection side of things.
I think at first love is a heavy emotion, right? And that's like lust, and that's like oxytocin going through your brain. But then as you're with somebody longer and longer, I feel that love becomes more of a loyalty and trust kind of relationship, rather than, this crazy passion that it was for the first 3-4 months, right? And ultimately that's what makes a strong family, is that bond of trust and loyalty amongst each other, and that friendship.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes, you can plant a very beautiful flower, but you've got to give it roots to keep it alive.
Well said. So what kind? So I mean, that being said, it sounds like Japanese women, married or not, tend to be quite open in their relationships. Have you ever been hit on by married women in Japan?
Yeah. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon, especially if you are a Japanese speaker. It's very common for people, certainly once they've had the social lubricant of alcohol, to be quite forward at times. And it is odd. It is odd at times to just see, like, this person's literally sat there with a wedding ring on, and they go, my husband is away and it's okay. Like, would you like to come back? And it's like, I'll be honest, no, for me, no, I'm okay.
They're looking for their little boy toy.
Yeah, they're all. It's also the thing where if you go out there certainly as a white foreign national, and you're not seen as the sort of weeaboo, weird ones that go just for, I'm there for Japanese culture, I'm there to meet Japanese girls, I'm there for anime, I'm there for the fashion, I'm there for this. The ones that go there because they work there or they just love it, and they're not there to sort of fetishize Japanese culture. Like Japanese women and Japanese guys really assimilate with that, because we actually love Japan for being Japan. And you do get hit on. You can talk to these people much better, but they have, when they look at these characters that come across that just are there for Japanese.
It's like these backpackers you see in Thailand wearing the big baggy pants and the dreadlocks. You're like, come on, pal.
Yeah, you're not there to be you're not there to be part of Thailand. You're not there to be part of Japan. You're there because you love the idea of what it is. And they're called LBH, which is loser back home, is what they're called. Because they see them as, these white guys from the UK, from Germany, from America, they've all come to Japan because they can't find anybody back home. So they've come here because they think we're easy. And because they think that all Japanese women want a male a male husband, where I can definitively tell you that is not the case.
So they're just coming to try and fill that porno shortage.
100%. They're coming to try and get on those. They're coming to get on the visas that are just there for babies.
I remember seeing when I was in like Shinjuku, you could see that there were like these signs for like male escorts or male entertainers, basically like male strip clubs. And frankly, you could see that more prevalent than you could see any like female strip clubs. But I know that there's also like a lot of these private clubs in Japan where essentially something not a lot of people know about Japan is that discrimination is often right out in the open, and it's legal and it's prevalent, and they have clubs that are not open to foreigners. They have restaurants that are not available to foreigners. Have you ever experienced any of this?
Yes, yeah, multiple times. And I must preface it by saying it is not an aggressive style of pushback. There's no aggravation that we would sort of consider it in the West, being like, oh no, you can't come in here. Like, it's just, oh sorry, we don't serve you. And it's kind of, it's kind of disarming. You kind of go, okay, sure. Like you've told me nicely that you don't serve me.
It's polite racism.
Yeah, it's polite racism. You go, okay, sure, no problem. I'm not going to argue with you. So we had a trip up to Aomori, which is on the very top of the main island, just before you get across to Hokkaido, and we went to 7 or 8 little restaurants and little bars, and every single one had the sign on the door which just said Japanese only, or it has like sort of a language mark with a cross through it saying we only speak Japanese. And then others you walk into and they go, oh, sorry. And again, you just go, okay, I'll go somewhere else.
That must be a bit off-putting, though. Actually, you feel like I would feel not wanted.
I see it as a weird mix now. Maybe it's because I've been there too long, that I go, okay, you don't want to serve me, then okay. Like you don't have to serve me. That's no problem on me. Like you don't have to serve me. But it is a thing of, like, come on, I'm here. I want to spend money in your restaurant. Like, let me come and spend money. Like, allow me to be a part of your society. Whereas it can be very, very closed, and a lot of people just go, no, you're not coming in. Yeah,
I mean, it makes me think of the United States in the 50s and 60s and the discrimination struggle that the Black Americans faced. I mean, and frankly, I have so much respect for them and the way they handled it, without using violence, through silent protest, for the most part. I mean, Martin Luther King Jr. with civil disobedience, and how they would just go into these restaurants and sit there. Even though they wouldn't get served, they would just sit there and they would try to order and continue to try to order. And eventually, after decades of abuse and being arrested, and it finally got a bill passed, and it finally came through. And that's what it reminds me of as an American. And it's hard to watch some of those videos, from back in the day, with police sicking dogs on them. And I remember, the National Guard being called in Alabama in the 50s when they wanted to desegregate schools. That's all a lesson in history. And I don't know, Japan should learn from that.
I think Japan should learn from it and open their doors more readily to foreigners just generally, because they do have this population crisis, the brain drain and everything that's just flows away as your population decreases. But reasons I don't know, they won't do it. They won't offer people to come in easily. It is difficult to get in. I've been going in and out for 7 or 8 years, and only last year did I get a 5-year visa. Every single visa previously was 6 months, maybe a year if I was lucky. And finally I've got this 5-year one, and you sort of go, oh wow, I can stay. Amazing.
Well, I've lived in Malaysia for 16 years, and I've never gotten a 5-year visa. Okay, and I'm married to a Malaysian. Longest visa I've had is 3 years.
Wow.
And I've been married for 11 years now. It's not an easy process here to get a long-term visa. I mean, I understand that they're taking precautions. I saw recently in the news that the immigration had uncovered some sort of a marriage scamming ring with like Pakistanis and Bangladeshis marrying locals for visas. But I mean, for those of us that have been here for X amount of years, please make it a little bit easier for us. I understand that PR is a very difficult thing to get in Malaysia. I know a few people that have it, and it's an arduous process. I understand that it's currently under review. Hopefully they'll make that process a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but a little bit easier for people that have been here a long time. From what I understand now, the minister himself has to approve your PR, which sounds like quite a stretch. You know, you would think that the guy has a little bit more important things to do than approve one individual's PR. But you know, this is me coming from America, where you know it's quite much easier, despite what's going on now with the immigration policies. It's much easier to get citizenship or a green card in the United States. And I know they're very different countries; they have very different philosophies.
Yeah, the PR in Japan is you must be there for 5 years solid. First of all, to even be able to apply. Then whilst your application is going through, it can take up to 18 months with all your background checks. So if you have even a speeding ticket, that is possible grounds for them to refuse your permanent residency. And they make it so tight that it's difficult to get. It's not unobtainable, like Malaysia can be, but Japan is, there's so many hoops that you must jump through, which is working and life in Japan in general, that it becomes almost a process of once you start, if you stop, you've kind of just wasted your time.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how they would be worried about their culture being eroded by the population decline in Japan. Because imagine if your country's population is decreasing at such a rapid rate and foreigners are coming in, your entire identity is just going to be eroded and changed. I mean, 100 years from now, Japanese culture could be totally different. I remember a couple years ago, they had a beauty queen that was like half black or something. And a lot of people didn't accept her as Japanese, and it was a big controversy. But ultimately, I think she did obviously prevail. She became Miss Japan, being, I think she was, like I said, half black, half Japanese, right? And then isn't some tennis players also, isn't there a famous tennis player?
Yes, they have a half Japanese, I believe she's half American, black American tennis player. And they see her in this...
Naomi Osaka, yeah, she's incredible.
She's excellent, and they we'll do this in the UK. We used to do the same thing with Andy Murray.
They don't want to take credit for her, right? Hey, as an American, I'll take credit for her all the way. She's awesome.
Yeah, we would do something similar in the UK where Andy Murray would be, he's a British champion if he won, and the Scottish failure if he lost.
Right.
So we immediately distance ourselves from it, and I kind of see it with Japan as well, where they do the similar things. But if you are of like half nationality to Japanese, say you're half Japanese, half American, in Japan you're known as a hafu.
A hafu.
A hafu, which is half. So even if you were to be born in Japan, schooled in Japan, Japan passport, citizenship, the lot, you're still a hafu, and you're by a lot of segments of generally the older generations in Japan, you're not Japanese, you're hafu, which is a big put off for myself. So say if I did have a child with a Japanese lady, I knew that this child, no matter how Japanese they were and how they conducted themselves and how much they conformed, they'd never be Japanese. And that's the same with expats going in, we're never going to be Japanese. And it's kind of a thing that you must accept on going in, is that, okay, I'm never going to be Japanese. I'm never going to be part of the big society in terms of Japanese culture and how they perceive me. But I can be part of my local community. I can be part of my work community, of my friendship communities. But on a bigger scale, I'm still transient. I'm still seen as a foreign national, no matter how much I have.
Okay, so I imagine a lot of that leads to some of these fish out of water kind of situations where no matter how long you've been there, it still seems really foreign to you, right? So do you have any like stories that really stand out in your mind as to where you're like, what the hell are they doing? Why is this done this way? It's just so different from what you're used to.
Yeah, so there's millions and millions of things, and every day you'll go, what? Why? So there's been multiple occasions. The biggest one for me that I found when I first got there was fax machines.
Right.
Like fax machines are still prevalent, and they're still prevalent because Japan, we do not trust emails. So if you want to send a document, a high-end document to the bank, fax it or post it, because that is far safer than emails, apparently.
Okay.
And a great one that my friend had, they just bought a house in a mountain town. They've got all their documents done, everything's sorted. They just need to get some internet. So they ring up Rakuten, their internet provider, and go, right, we want internet to the house. And they go, wonderful, what house is it? This one. They go, we can't see that house on our map, despite it being on Google Map. And they go, right, how can we solve this? They go, right, get a screenshot of your house on Google Maps, go to the nearest convenience store, and then fax it to us in our head office, so that we can then send internet to your house, and we can now update you. And it makes no sense whatsoever why you have to. Why? It's an internet company. You can contact them through the internet. Like, why are we so afraid of this stuff? It's mad. And then, like, buying a house is easier than buying a car.
Okay.
And these things that make no sense whatsoever. Like, you can buy houses for nothing, like absolutely nothing. And then you go like, oh, like we're gonna basically, if I'm buying a house from you, and you've got your stuff still in it, we do all of our paperwork agreement, we go, fantastic, I'm going to move in on the 1st of June. And you go, wonderful, where's my keys? Here's my keys, I get them, and I walk in, and it's still full. And you go, right, Mikey, why is all your stuff here? I've got all my stuff in the back of a van, I'm ready to move in. And they go, the owner of the house can take as long as they want to vacate the property.
Okay.
Even though you hold the deeds, you hold the keys, you hold all documentation to say that you own the house, but the previous owner can still leave their stuff in it as long as they want.
Can they stay in it?
Yeah.
If they wanted to?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big thing with it's just a trust exercise where they go, this person's, they're going to leave. Honest, we're going to leave, but just not yet. So you just have to wait. You simply have no choice but to wait. And the best thing is, if I go into a house and go, Mike, you've got a basement, and you leave, I don't know, a set of furniture, I've got to keep that furniture for 10 years, in case you come and go, you know that dilapidated sofa I left downstairs 8.5 years ago? Yeah, I want it back.
What are the ramifications if you get rid of it?
You'd probably get a knock at the door and a ticking off by the police. I don't think there's anything major with it. It's just one of those things that's, with Japan again, we've always done it this way, so we're going to keep doing it this way. And that's my property. It was my property, so I'm going to leave some of my stuff there, and I'll get it when I choose.
It's interesting to see a society that is steeped in traditions, yet that is fully developed to a sense of, when I went for the first time, I remember thinking, wow, this is amazing. It's a fully developed Asian country with like perfect roads, the houses look brand new in suburbs, but they have Japanese-style roofs. You know, I just thought that was fascinating. It was like being in the United States or in Europe, but with a Japanese feel to everything. Like just from looking outside the car window. I'm not talking about the culture or anything like that. I'm talking about simply the architecture and the infrastructure. Just that so to have a society that's steeped in tradition yet modern is interesting.
Yes, yeah.
Especially a society that is so technologically advanced yet relies on facts.
Yeah, it's one of the big misnomers of Japan is that they are living in the future, and they just aren't. It's a paper trail. If the internet was to just die, Japan would work perfectly fine. Nothing would change. All the convenience stores would get stocked. You still pay your rent with a checkbook, and you go to this machine that would have been state of the art in the 80s, and you click your stamp book in, and it prints off your payments and everything in your book, and they still use it in 2025. Like, come on, guys, we can do online payments, and there's all these things that you just sort of look at and go, like, come on, let's just move forwards. And it's the big thing of there is the bullet train, the Shinkansen, the trains, the buses, the roads that work perfectly and are exceptionally smooth. But then you go, as soon as you tear down that little wall and then you go behind the nice painting of all that and you look at it and you go, how is this place still standing? This is amazing. Right.
I mean, it is known for its precision, right? The Shinkansen is quite amazing.
Yes.
I mean, and what about those rush hour trains where they really like pack people in there? Have you ever been experienced that?
I've been on it once. So I arrive in Tokyo with all my luggage. I've got one massive suitcase that's about my height because I work in snow sports, and I get there and I get to the platform and it is 40 people deep, and I go, oh, this was an error. So everyone's shuffling on, and then I'm essentially 3 people because I'm 2 Japanese people wide and I've got another big box in front of me, and they just cram me on, and we just all.
How long were you on that train for?
I was on it for what felt like a lifetime and all of 10 minutes.
Okay.
And it was
so not terrible.
It was brutal. It is brutal. And then you get off into Tokyo Station, and it is what feels like the world's population just going in different directions. It is fascinating to see.
Yeah, you know, that was one thing that surprised me the first time I went to Japan too, when I was in Tokyo Station and just riding the metro, riding the subways, is that I thought it was going to be the world's population because it's Tokyo. It's like the biggest city in the world. But I was surprised to find that it really wasn't multicultural. It was mostly Japanese people, you know, and that was a big surprise for me because, you know, you go to Hong Kong, Singapore, London, New York, it's very international. But at least Hong Kong used to be. But Tokyo was not. It was very Japanese.
Yeah, Tokyo, like, it is a multicultural city, but the percentage is so small that you look around and you go, the only foreigners you'll really see are tourists, and you can spot them a mile off. Yes, I go, tourist. One of the big things to spot a tourist, wearing shorts. If it's summer and they're wearing shorts, tourist, 100%. And you can go through Tokyo and not see any foreigner. And I work a lot in the very, very far north of Japan, and it is kind of, it's a jolt. You go, there's somebody white there. Like, oh God, there's a black guy there. Like, what? Like, why are you here? Like, what are you doing here? Because I know I'm here for work. So
yeah, you're in quite rural Japan, right?
You look at these people and you go, what are you doing?
Apikogen,
yes,
is it?
Yeah, Apikogen Resort is where I work, and we are way up in the north in Iwate Prefecture, and we are pretty much a little bastion of foreign nationals that work on this resort with no other foreigners or English speakers for hundreds of miles.
So you run a ski school there, right?
Yes.
And I mean, I go skiing in Japan once a year. I've never been to Apikogen, I'm sorry to say. You know, I've been to Hakuba and Niseko, and Niseko is kind of my spot, which I know really isn't like Japan. That it's probably the most multicultural place you'll find in Japan.
We know it as winter Bali.
Right, yeah, winter Bali. I consider it like the Aspen of Asia. But what's it like, you know, running a ski school in Japan and living in, I mean, because it's quite isolated where you are.
It's the biggest thing to take from it is the isolation, and if you do want to go and work in Japan, 100% work with the Japanese. Like, you have to work with the Japanese to get like what is this culture. But working for a Japanese company is very, very difficult. So when I first arrived, maybe 8 years ago, there was 10 English speakers maximum on the entire resort of about 2,000 staff. And now we're up to a couple of hundred English-speaking staff.
Wow.
And I'm now in a position where I now hire and I bring in and I build stuff for the resort in terms of product. But we're still very Japanese in the way we do things, which is for me enjoyable because I've gone to Japan to do stuff the Japanese way as best I can, but also to develop it.
So when you say product, what do you mean by that?
So building, not a product in sort of sense of, oh, this is a malleable thing. We build more experience products. So we're doing guiding, we're doing cat skiing, we offer, we build a ski school for Japan's most expensive school. We operate that fully through the entire winter. We're looking at snowmobiles, like all those sort of experience products that bring people to the resort.
Okay. And how much snow do you guys get up there? How big's the mountain?
The mountain, we're the third biggest in Japan. As for specific size,
let me set this up for people. So George works at a mountain in Japan that you probably never heard of. It's called Apikogen, right? And it's in rural Japan, and it's probably Japan's biggest hidden secret. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. We are in Iwate Prefecture. We're way up north. We're the third largest ski area in Japan, and nobody comes to us, which means that Chinese New Year, Christmas, we've still got major capacity for people to come and to ski. And what that means for families is you can come and get a lesson, not a problem. We can organize that. We can sort all that stuff out perfectly. If you are a high-end skier and you want to ski Japan's amazing powder snow, we can sort that. We can do that morning, noon, and night. Not a problem because we are a hidden gem. There's nobody there's no big crowds that are coming that they do to the big areas. So it is somewhere that experiences big snow. We get up to, last season we had upwards of 14 meters of snow, which is pretty good. So I love it there. It's quirky, it's weird.
How many runs are there? How many lifts are there? How many mountains are there?
We are 2 mountains. We have 28 runs and we have 5 lifts.
Are the mountains connected, the 2 mountains, or
Yep.
do you have to? They are.
Yep.
Okay.
So we have the main mountain, then we have one smaller mountain off to the side, which you can access via our beginner green run, which is 5 kilometers long.
Oh, that's cool.
I think probably longest in Japan. We do have Japan's longest 4-man chair as well, and this little mountain serves only high-end skiers. So it is only accessible by hiking or by a snowcat. So it's only for powder skiing.
Oh, wow.
Which means it's untouched most of the time.
That's nice. So it's got a lot of off-piste, and what about the rest of the runs? Is it diverse, or is it primarily for intermediate, beginners, or experts?
Intermediates do well at our resort. We do have some beginner runs, but we do struggle with that little band between the beginner and intermediate. We do jump quite quickly towards steeper runs, but as a resort, you cannot get lost, which means that you could bring your family and go, right, wonderful, you take that lift, I'll see you in 5 hours.
Okay.
Because you're going to get pushed back to this one spot anyways.
Right.
So it allows families to have this freedom to go, just let the kids go, go have fun.
And how many, what about outside of the resort or restaurants and like life outside of skiing?
Life outside of skiing, that's when it becomes a bit more challenging.
Okay.
We have inside the resort we have a lot of restaurants, we have a few bars that are in our little village.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get beyond that, we are into hardcore Japan. So if you want the Japanese experience, 100% come to us. Rent a car. Go. We have 10 little resorts near us that are even more hardcore Japanese than we are, and you won't speak or see any English for a few hundred miles, and it is exhilarating. It's exciting.
They'll let you in?
100% they'll let you in.
Okay.
Because these guys need money.
Yeah. And what about getting there? What about how about getting to Apikogen?
So getting to Api, let's put it from a flight perspective. So if you land in Narita Airport, 3 trains later, you're at your hotel. So you get Narita to Tokyo, Tokyo to our local city, which is called Morioka. You take the train from Morioka or the bus up to the resort, and you're there within 3 hours.
Okay. So from Malaysia, that's like a 9.5-hour trip all in.
Yeah.
From home to hotel. Okay, not terrible considering there's a limited amount of direct flights to Niseko at the moment.
Yeah, that's one of the big things we push.
All right, so we covered Japan. Now let's talk Malaysia. You've been here as well, right? What do you love about Malaysia? What do you find weird about Malaysia, if anything, different about Malaysia? Let's talk Malaysia.
So Malaysia, my biggest draw initially was food. I love food. I love especially like curry and Indian influenced cuisine, and then we have the Chinese cuisine that's coming as well. And for me, it's the best melting pot of all the cuisines from around the world. For me personally, I just adore it. And the weather's great. I come from somewhere where it would rain 300 days a year, so it's fantastic that I come here and we actually have sunshine. It's amazing. So because I come between Japan and Malaysia a lot, you go from the incredible order and efficiency and rule-based society of Japan, and then you get dropped into Malaysia, and it feels like a free-for-all. It's kind of like just go, do what you want. You can park here, you can drink. Let's go, let's party. And it's fantastic. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in Malaysia 16 years, and if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be here. Not to say I don't have my gripes with it, but for the most part, I think it's the best value for money in the world. It's got space, it's got golf. I mean, so much golf, right? Like you go to Singapore, forget it. It's a great international city, Singapore, but you want to try and play golf, you're going to be on a wait list at 5:36 in the morning. Here, you can go out anywhere and get around. There's so many different courses. But yeah, I am yet to have the elusive PR of Malaysia. I've got to apply for that. I think Fahad might have to put that in motion for me. He can translate some of the documents. My Malay is sikit.
My Malay is limited to Mamax and ordering 3 specific items.
I can get around with Malay. I can give directions. I can order. I can speak a little bit of Malay. And I've tried. It's not a difficult language to learn because it's quite similar to English. And I've tried, but the problem is everybody in KO wants to speak English with you. I need to go to the kampung for like 3 to 6 months, and I'll come out, I'll be speaking perfect Malay. But I need to, the only way to do it is to go somewhere where people really don't speak English. And here, everyone does.
Yeah, my best experience with Malay is for the first 5 years that I was coming in and out. I only knew one number, and that was the number 2. I didn't know anything else. So every restaurant I went into, that didn't speak English, I'm like, well, I guess I'm ordering 2 of everything.
Dua.
So I'd pick like 2 drinks and 2 small plates and 2 of this. Like, oh man.
Well, you do like food.
I love it.
Yeah. So I mean, some things that are interesting though, when dealing as expat or a foreigner, I mean, nobody likes to go to JPJ. Nobody in the U.S. likes to go to the DMV. You know, you go and you have to deal. There's so many different paperworks, and there's a wait time, and sometimes you go with all the paperwork, and they'll say, "Oh no, sorry, actually it's this paperwork." But you just gave me this checklist last week. Yeah, but you know, actually we need this and this. And you're like, okay, sure, but you know, it is what it is, right? Dealing with any government in any country is always a pain, I find. You know, it's always the least efficient form of business.
Yeah, what I find is it's 99% there. It's the 1% of detail that's missing where you go, and like you said, you go and they go, oh no, we actually want this. And you go, you could have told me that.
Mm-hmm.
You could have told me that. And it would have been sorted. And it's this thing that, oh, it's so close. It's so close to being perfect. And then you go, ah. Like if you go into, like my apartment, I live in KLCC.
Yeah.
And my light switches, I have a bank of 5 of them, and 2 of them work. And it's the top one and the second bottom. And you go, what are these other 3 for? Like, come on. Like, it's so close to being good. It's so close to being perfect. Like, the room is fantastic. The air conditioning, the views, the lifts, everything. And then you get in, it goes, oh, but this button on the lift doesn't work. And you go, come on.
Yeah.
It's so close.
The details.
Yes, yeah.
The details. Yeah. Maybe yours is just a little over-engineered. Like me and my wife, we always look at hotel rooms when we travel in hotel rooms, not just here, but anywhere. And there's always a lack of towel hangers.
Yes.
Why? You know, it's a hotel room. We're trying to save towels. You want us to save towels. You don't want us to, you know, do laundry. You have all these signs all over the place. Save water. Well, let us hang up the towels, for crying out loud. There's always a lack of towel hangers.
It's just like there's like towel hangers and like just cups, and they'll give you the most infinitely small water bottle.
Right.
And you're like, it's 36 degrees outside. Like, come on, like give me something reasonable here.
Yeah, I hear you. You know, when I go to a golf club in the U.S., there's like a water container every other hole that you could fill up with a plastic paper cup or your own cup with water, and it's usually on ice, and someone comes around and changes it throughout the day, and like every 3 holes you can get water. Here in 36 degrees, no, you got to wait till you get to the halfway hut, or you know, it's like you can't just have water on the course. You know, I don't want to die of dehydration. It's a walking course. You know?
Yeah, it's like when I've played in like if you get a cart, thank God, and then you hope that there's a little cooler on the side where you can at least keep the water cool. And then there's some times where you play and the round has taken so long that your plastic water bottle in the front is essentially steaming, and you're making boiling water in the front.
Oh yeah, microplastics galore.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's one thing with Malaysia that I do struggle with is like I must buy a water filter, or it has to be plastic bottled water. It can't just be from the tap.
I've actually drank water from the tap in Malaysia and been okay. You know, I think I kind of. I started doing it very little when I first got here, and I don't do it now. I have a water filter at my house, but I have drank in full cups of water straight from the tap and been fine. Yeah. My son's been doing it ever since he was born, and he doesn't care. You know, but for the most part, everything in my house is filtered. Yeah. But yeah, as a foreigner, yes. So now I feel like my stomach after 16 years is totally adapted to Asia. Like I don't, you know, I don't really get the runs like you do when you first come if you drink something off.
Do you get the same thing when you go back to America as you would if you first came out to?
I have had that happen once or twice, and I don't know what it was from, but no, not really. It's happened to me once, and I thought for a second, like, is it because I'm drinking the faucet water from this New York City tap? But that was once. After that, no, it didn't. I can drink tap water, and it's fine.
I get it very badly when I go back to the UK because of the quality and the abundance of dairy that we have. So
for food.
Yeah, so milk and cheese and things, especially when I just go Japan to the UK straight back and forward, I was ill for a week just with because a lot of Japan and a lot of Asia is lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
There's not the prevalence of like whole milk and cheeses, and then when you go back to the UK, which is similar to America, where let's throw cheese on it, let's just drink gallons of milk, like fantastic. You get back and you go. Whew.
I had that happen to me in France, going to Paul Bocuse like 3-star Michelin restaurant. There were a lot of really creamy dishes, and afterwards I had diarrhea because my stomach hadn't been used to the amount of cream that they were using in these French dishes. And it's sad because it was like such a great restaurant, you know?
Yeah. At least you got to enjoy it once.
Yeah. Now he's dead, so, you know, all good. Yeah, but you're going back expecting a big winter, right? I think we covered everything. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Any stories that you want to touch on?
Yeah, what I would say is that Japan is still a fantastic experience, especially as a tourist. Everybody, you have to come to Japan. It is amazing. It's eye-opening. It's a culture that's like since it was settled, it's never really been invaded. There's nobody's come in and forced new cultures on them. So everything just concentrates itself. It's like you've made it like a soup, and that's you've got all your cultural parts. You've got your language. You've got your house. You've got all that other stuff, and all you're doing is reducing that stock all the way down. And it means that everything becomes so concentrated that it is thoroughly Japanese. And the food is unlike anything else you'll have. It is very similar to Chinese cuisine. It can be very similar to Korean cuisine, but it is of its own nature. And one thing you will notice in Japan is all these tiny little restaurants, as we were speaking earlier. You'd have, like in the UK, we'd have, we've got a shop that sells pies. It'll sell a beef pie, a lamb pie, a chicken pie, pork pie, blah, 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 blah. In Japan, you would have a shop for beef pies. You would have a shop for chicken pies.
Right.
And because the culture and the food especially has been concentrated so much, is that these are all now seen as different cuisines inside of itself. So there is a vast array of food and people that are there to welcome you, and it's an experience that everybody should have. It's a fantastic place to be.
I feel you. I feel like, you know, we were sitting here complaining like a bunch of expats, but really, I mean, I've been to Japan 10 times as a tourist, and it is an incredible place. Probably the best food in the world, I think. In my opinion, Japan has the best food in the world. It's the best craftsmanship in the world when it comes to artisanal food, 100%. And Malaysia, I've been in Malaysia for 16 years. Also, some of the best food in the world because it's such a melting pot of Southeast Asian foods, right? I mean, you do get really good Japanese food in Malaysia too. I think you get better Japanese food in Malaysia than you do in the West.
Yes.
You know, because you get those outliers who want to leave Japan and they come here and they open up shops, and they're incredible. You know, you get really good Korean food too. There's a big Korean community here as well. So yeah, I mean, but overall, living in Asia to me is the future. It's a very great place to be. I'm happy, and yeah, for now, this is it.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here.
Raising my family here.
Yeah, wouldn't be here if we didn't love it.
Yeah.
I love Japan for all its quirks and all its weirdness. And if I'm still working there in 30 years, I'll still think it's weird and quirky and why are we doing this? We did that 30 years ago, and they will continue to do it. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful in what it is and what it does.
Yeah, I love Japan. It's so weird. Like I went to this place in Shinjuku called the Robot Restaurant. Have you ever been there?
Yes.
That place is nuts. You know, it's like so Japanese, and I love it.
It's just so much fun. Like there's just so much.
It's just so
to
bizarre.
Yes, bizarre is a very, very good word for it. There's energy everywhere. You've just got to be able to work out what the energy is at times. There's some places you go in and it's just sterile, and then there's a little door, and you go in and it is just the most fantastic restaurant you've been into.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about Tokyo is that it's like New York on steroids. Like New York, you imagine it's like a two-dimensional plane where all the shops and all the restaurants are on the ground level. You go to Tokyo, all the shops and all the restaurants, all of a sudden it becomes 3D. They could be on the 3rd floor, the 5th floor, the 6th floor. They could be, you can go into a building that looks like an office building, go up to the 7th floor, and it's a hallway full of doors, like in the Matrix, and you walk down, 5 doors to the left, you open it, and there's like a little bar that only specializes in whiskey. It's fucking crazy, and then you can go across the hall, and it could be like a karaoke room for just, 80s hits. You know what I mean? Like, it's so specialized. Like Tokyo is like the internet in real life. Rather than going from web page to web page or forum to forum, you're going to a specialized business that can, specialize in anything. It's unbelievable, and that's why I love Tokyo too. There's so many nooks and crannies. Like, you can go under a train track, and there's like 7 little stalls that are selling, the best, cow heart you've ever had, or this little like mackerel and tuna roll that's just incredible, a ramen that nobody's had before. So I feel you.
It's fantastic. Like, especially like in Ueno, you go, there's the main street with all the offices, and as soon as you go one little street back, there's just tiny gyoza restaurants that fit maybe 4 people in it, and then they spill out onto the side, and then there's a little izakaya, there's just foods everywhere, and there's people enjoying it and being there, and it's alive. And then you step across that little boundary, and it's this just void of work. It's these fantastic different polar opposites that Tokyo manages to hold at once that make it so exciting.
Do you spend a lot of time in Tokyo?
I spend a good amount of time in Tokyo.
What are your favorite neighborhoods?
Shinjuku's cool. I personally really like Ueno. I have Ichiran is down there, Ippudo, the main ramen guys. But once you get into these little back streets, I love gyoza. I'd happily order 30, 40 gyoza at a time and just sit there for a couple of hours, just have a few beers, just go for it. And it's fantastic. It's so cool and so exciting. But I always tell people, much like with the UK, like London and Tokyo, they're not Japan. It is Japanese, but you've got to get out of the main cities. You've got to go to Kyoto, Osaka. Like, if you go to Japan, please go north. You've got to go north. It's beautiful. And that's where the reality of Japan is. That's where it is.
I heard Kyoto is being overrun by tourists.
Yes, it is.
There was an article recently that said Kyoto is being totally overrun by tourists.
Yes, yeah, and they've started closing streets to tourists for the geishas to go up and down, and it's some areas are quite sad because it is becoming overpopular with tourists. But if you want a hidden gem in Japan, go north. Go to Sendai. Sendai is a fantastic city. It's great fun. Go up and around the Iwate coast. You'll see beautiful coastlines. You go to the other coast, you can see across to Korea. It's amazing. It's a fantastic place.
Yeah, man. I've been all over Japan. I've been to Tokyo. I've been to Nagano, Hakuba. I've been to Osaka, Kyoto, Fukuoka, Miyazaki. Miyazaki was very interesting because A, they have excellent beef, and B, it's like a surf town. It's really weird. It's like reminds you of California. Like when I got out of the airport, there was like a van with surfboards on top. It was like a real surf town. It's like a beach town, And then of course Sapporo and Niseko, and I don't know, some small town in the mountains outside of Fukuoka. I can't remember what it's called, but I stayed at this ryokan. I was like 150 years old. It was pretty cool. But pretty weird because my kid was like 2 years old at the time, and he wouldn't stop crying, like he was like he saw a ghost or something in this 150-year-old
with those paper walls. It would have been.
I think it was called like Yao something. Yao's, I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, it's Yeah, Euphorin. Yeah, that's what it was. Correct. Wow, good one. Good one, Fahad. Jamie-esque.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So it was very, very cool seeing all different sides of Japan. I have yet to go north though and see like Sendai. I kind of want to go to where the tsunami hit.
Yes, that's on.
That's kind of Sendai, right?
Yeah. That's the Iwate
They see a lot of
coast.
UFOs over there, you know, because the
Yes.
nuclear meltdown. There's a
Yes.
big UFO society in Japan.
There is. There is. Fukushima is it is interesting to go.
You've been
through.
there?
Yes, yeah. You can drive to where the.
Is there like a no-go zone there, or
There is
it?
there is a no-go zone. I've not been for a few years, but I think it encroaches in a little bit at a time, and you can get tours that take you inside the exclusion zone.
Okay.
And that's fascinating. The tsunami coast in Iwate, where that's quite interesting to go and look at. It's quite difficult because you go and you see pictures of this thriving community, and then there's one tree that survived. There's one tree, and there's an old school, and that's it. Everything else was leveled.
So it's still all leveled.
They've rebuilt it, but it's wave. You can see all the stuff that's been built. There's no old time buildings or anything that's left. It was a beautiful coast with palm trees and like beautiful sands, and now it was just leveled. And then as you go up the coast and you see each little inlet, a lot of them will have signs that say, how high the water was, and it'll be like 13 meters. And then you go, that's quite a lot. And then you'll look up and there'll be a blue and yellow marker on the hill that tells you where the wave was.
And you see.
And it is 6, 7, 8 stories up.
Wow.
And you just go, wow, that is wild.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that with their population decline, that maybe they wouldn't even bother rebuilding over there. I don't know, but they're rebuilding.
Yeah, they rebuild. And a lot of these houses are just the kind of prefab, like cut and paste houses. Where when you get into rural Japan outside of the major cities that still have that architecture, each town is identical. You could go past 100 of these towns. It's all the same prefab things.
Okay.
There's the mall, there's the pachinko parlor, and then you carry on to the next
that's
one.
one thing they love, pachinko.
They love pachinko, and that is one thing that will never...
Have you ever played pachinko?
I played it once, and I went, I don't get what this is.
It's like it's like slot machines, right?
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of, sort of.
Yeah, gambling's illegal, but you can go to the pachinko parlor, you get all your balls, you then play pachinko, the balls go whizzing around this machine, which makes it exciting, apparently. And then you take the balls that you've won, you put them in a machine, you get a receipt like at a fun fair.
Right.
And then you go around the corner to another business that will buy the thingy off.
So it is essentially gambling.
It's
It's
gambling.
legalized
It's
gambling.
legalized gambling.
Skirting the rules.
Yes.
Have you ever had any run-ins or with like Yakuza or anything like that? I know they're quite prevalent. Just,
Thankfully, nothing anything serious.
Okay.
But when I've been in Tokyo, we saw an onsen. We're like, okay, great, let's go to this onsen. And tattoos are very taboo in Japan because of the Yakuza.
Right.
And we walk in, and the first guy I see changing has a massive dragon, and I'm like, we're in a Yakuza onsen now. And I mean, they were perfectly pleasant to me.
Right.
But I know that they do have a reputation.
Okay. When you went up to Fukushima, did you explore any of that like UFO lore that's up there or no? Like I know they have like a town that's like dedicated to UFOs in that area, right?
I've heard about it, and we always see things because we're not far from it, on the news being like, something was seen, but I've just sort of stayed away from it. I'm like, okay, you do you, like not a problem.
Okay.
But I think the UFO lore is still quite niche at times. But it's interesting, and it brings people to the area, so fantastic. Let's promote it.
Right. Okay. All right, cool. I think we covered all the bases here, George. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming in.
Lovely. Are you going to send me a fax for when I have to come back next time?
Yeah. I'll send you a fax of the clips that we're going to cut out.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thanks, dude.
Pleasure.
I enjoyed it. All right, good.